Hey everyone, it's Payson with Steel Dog, and today we're going to take a look at stacking clips. Steel Dog makes two versions of our stacking clip. One is for 1.5" lumber, it's the HC150, and the other one is the HC112, which is for 1.1" plywood. So they both do the same thing. They allow you to stack a little extra height on top of your 1.1" forms. Both versions of the stacking clip are made with stamped and formed steel. Each clip has 3 nail holes to secure it both to the form and the piece of extension lumber that's being used. Clips are also zinc plated to prevent rust and corrosion over time. So we're going to take a look at the HC112 clips first, and these are the clips that allow you to add 1.1" lumber. Now of course the higher you go, the more you're going to need to consider using a tie on top of the forms. So here we've just got some ripped down plywood. It's not actually a panel, it's just 1.1" plywood. And for that, you know, if you get above just a few inches, you're going to want to run some sort of a strap along the top to keep the forms from splaying out too much. What's common is perforated banding, or like a piece of wood strapping that you can just run across the top, nail into the forms or the plywood, and that'll hold everything together. It doesn't need much because it's at the top of the wall, so it's pretty low pour pressure up there. The other way that people will sometimes add height to their forms is by laying down an actual full 24" panel or a filler on top of your forms. And you can do that with these stacking clips. Here I'm just going to lay it onto the clips, avoiding the panel bars. And obviously that gives you a tremendous amount more height. When you do this though, you do have to consider your tie locations. So there's kind of different oddball ways of getting around that. You can throw a dry tie up here and either use a half clip or flip the latch up and just lock it in place with a nail. And then down at the bottom you can do the same thing. You can throw a tie, essentially this is like horizontally on your panel, right in that keyway, and use a half clip to hold the tie in place. So that gives you quite a bit more height. Of course you can also flip the panel in its correct position and stack that way. This is less commonly done with stacking clips because if you've got a 6-bar system, meaning 6 bars on your 8-foot panel, you're going to have the ability to stagger stack your panels. And in that case, you don't need stacking clips to tie those forms together. If you've got a 4-bar system and you're stacking panels on top, you may use stacking plates, which are a plate that allows you to catch a tie. You can see that in another video, but this is not a very common application. Either the lay down or using strips of plywood is what you'll more commonly see in the field. So the other option you have when you're trying to add height to your forms is to use nominal lumber, so 1.5" lumber. And here we've got an example of a 2x12 on top of your forms. So these clips, the HC150s, are offset a little bit, which allows you to add that 1.5" lumber. Spacing on these clips, we generally recommend 1 clip per panel, and you're going to want to place it for ease of stripping on the middle of the panel. You can place them, some people like to place them on the panel joints because it does act a little bit like a whaler and it holds that joint together. It's just easier to strip it if you put it on the center of the panel. Now definitely when you're using these, if you go anything above a 2x4, you are going to want to tie something on the top of the forms, again, to keep them from splaying out like that. We make a really neat product. It's also used for footings. These are footing brackets, or when they're used on the top of the forms, stacking brackets or stacking clips. And these are pretty self-explanatory. You drop them over the top of the forms, and they prevent the forms from falling in when you're setting up and spreading out as you're pouring. So those are stacking clips from Steel Dog. They're easy to use, durable parts, and you can find out more information on our website at steel-dog.com.